Well, first of all, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. I start to feel like a little bit more congested. Usually around the springtime, that's when we have like the mucusy colds. Whereas in maybe in like the fall and winter time, when the qualities around us are more dry, that's when we'll have like our dry coughs. And so as we move into spring, we can start to really work with the energies of spring to keep ourselves in balance. So, if we're aware that the springtime usually brings these heavy, dense, sticky qualities, um, we can actually think, okay, so how can I look to opposite qualities of that to keep myself in balance? And so, just some spring practices that are good to adopt. And I actually do want to, before I go into these practices, I do want to say that this is, if you are experiencing, you may be experiencing qualities completely opposite of this, and these practices maybe wouldn't suit you. Ayurveda really focuses on the person first, on the individual before following spring practices. But let's just say that we're all in a state of balance, we're all feeling really good and healthy, then we can look to the seasons and really work with the seasons, um, just to cultivate even deeper balance in our life. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, for
Okay.
sure.
I like can't see it.
Yeah.
Anyone? So
Yes, yes. Mhm.
Sense.
okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I am glad you said that too, because I feel like that's just really important to keep in mind with stuff, learning new stuff like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay. So, as I said, say we are all, we're feeling really balanced in body, mind, we're feeling good, and it's springtime. So, ways to sort of combat the qualities of spring to keep ourselves in balance is we can, one, think about doing a spring cleanse or just in general lightening up our diet. So, as I said, these heavy, dense qualities can make us feel really stagnant, can make us feel sticky, congested, maybe a little bit lethargic. And so we kind of want to think about lightening up our diet. Really, during the winter time, typically that's a great time to be loading on like the meats and the stews and all of that, like really heavy, dense foods. So as we shift out of winter into spring, it's a good idea to start sort of lightening up the diet, introducing lighter grains, fresh fruits and vegetables. I really like to stew fruits like apples and berries, um, and just thinking about adding, more bitter greens, which I'll go over the foods to favor in a second. Another really great spring practice is dry brushing. And I actually have a dry brush and I wish I would have brought it over here. But it's just like this little dry bristled brush, and you just brush yourself. And it's really good for the lymphatic system. It really helps get the lymph moving. One thing I will say about dry brushing is if you are feeling maybe like anxious or overwhelmed, or you feel really ungrounded, dry brushing is not going to be a great practice for you. But if you are feeling that stagnation, you are feeling a little heavy, you feel like that spring energy is really like weighing you down, dry brushing is a really great practice to incorporate into your daily routine or even like 3 times a week. You can also do what's called abhyanga. This is self massage. Um, and you could use like a lighter oil, like grapeseed or almond oil. Again, this is just really great for getting the lymph moving, which is what we want all of the time, but especially in the springtime when things kind of start to get a little bit more stagnant. Another practice is sauna. That's just great. Again, getting the lymph moving, getting yourself sweating. Especially in early spring, this is a great practice. You'll see as we sort of move closer towards summer, when more heat starts to become present, certain things like going in a sauna can still be great, but it can also increase heat in the body, and then there can be too much heat. So we're always just sort of really paying attention to what's going on in our body, what's going on outside, and choosing practices that align with that. So also spending time in nature is just amazing no matter what season it is. Nature is the master regulator. So if you're ever feeling out of balance in any way, spending time in nature can really help to bring the nervous system back into equilibrium. Planting seeds, physically and metaphorically, is a great spring practice. Also, increasing activity. The springtime is a good time to, like, start doing that excess cardio, really like doing activities where you're sweating. You never really want to be sweating like profusely, but the springtime is a good time to really be like working up a bit more of a sweat. You could go on some brisk walks. And then also, for a lot of people, it's common to get allergies in the springtime. So there is a practice, it's called a neti pot. It literally just looks like a little like teapot, and you put some fresh water and salts into the pot, and you put it up your nose. I can definitely send some information about the neti pot, but if you are someone who gets allergies, it's amazing for combating allergies. So some foods to favor in the springtime. Again, we're going to think light. We're going to think kind of like moving more towards the drier side. So we have dry grains, barley, rye, quinoa, buckwheat, and corn. For fruits, we're thinking astringent. So we have apples, pears, berries, dried cherries, raisins, and dried fruit. Vegetables, we're going to think bitter greens, arugula, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, dandelion greens, and asparagus. Proteins, we want to sort of limit our meat consumption, sort of limit the more heavy proteins, especially, as I said, if you're feeling that heaviness. So beans, lentils, egg whites, and white meat would be good proteins for the springtime. And then pungent spices, because the heat is going to sort of help melt the stickiness, the heaviness of the spring. So black pepper, basil, cinnamon, bay leaf, ginger, lemon, and turmeric are all really great spices to start experimenting and incorporating into your diet during the springtime. And then raw honey is also the best sweetener for the kapha dosha as well as spring, because honey is very heating. And so again, that heating quality is going to sort of melt that stickiness, that stagnation. Whereas in other sweeteners like sugar or maple syrup are more cooling. So that actually can kind of irritate or contribute to more of that heaviness and that denseness. So some foods to consider reducing are excess dairy products, cold and dense foods, fatty meats, heavy fruits like dates, bananas, figs, and excess sweeteners and salt. Okay, how's everyone doing?
Great, thank you. Amazing so far.
Okay,
Thank you, Katie.
Yeah, good job. Keep it up.
okay.
As I'm eating bananas and strawberries, but it's okay. I'm joking. No, I'm not joking. I am.
Yeah.
And raw honey, moderation.
Yes. Okay. So
yeah.
another just really cool way to start to understand what's going on within your being, what's going on outside of your being, is getting familiar with the gunas. So gunas means qualities. So there are 10 pairs of opposites in Ayurveda, known as the 20 gunas. These are qualities that can be observed in ourselves, nature, food, drinks, etc. And I'm not going to go through all of this, but basically, we have cold and hot, we have oily and dry, heavy and light, gross and subtle, dense and liquid, soft and hard, static and mobile, clear, cloudy, slimy, rough, slow, and sharp. And so when we begin to look at these qualities and observe these qualities within ourselves and within nature, we can start to really kind of understand and learn how to best nourish ourselves at like literally every moment. One of my teachers, I think it's on this, yes, this page. Oh no, it's not. Anyways, one of my teachers, she really drilled it into our mind to ask ourselves, where am I at? What do I need? Like right now. And so a really good thing to remember about these qualities is that like increases like and opposites bring balance. And so as we see here, we have the gunas, we have their opposites right under each other. So Common and I had actually put together this fun little pictograph here of this is called a dosha clock. And so not only does this have, this has the doshas on it, we can also see that it actually has like a clock on it. You can see what time of the day is associated with each dosha. And this is AM and PM. Can see the seasons that are associated. And then here on the outside, we have all of the qualities that are associated with the seasons and the doshas. So really just beginning to kind of tune into yourself, tune into your environment, and start noticing like, what quality am I experiencing right now on my inner self? Like, for example, before this started, I was feeling a little bit mobile. Like I could feel, I was getting like a little bit excited and anxious, and my mind was sort of like, what's going to happen? And so I would look to the opposite quality of stable. And what I did was I placed some heavy pillows on my legs just to sort of ground me. And so this is really like a very intuitive way of working with the body mind and working with the environment, is just tapping into, okay, what's going on with me? What qualities am I feeling? And how can I bring more balance to this? What is the opposite quality? So yeah, I have some examples over here to hopefully make a little bit more sense. So again, where am I at? What do I need? Always checking in with yourself, I feel is really important, because we're always changing. Things are always moving. One day we might be feeling really heavy and like we need a lot of lightness. And the next day we might be feeling like super light and ungrounded and need a lot of heaviness. So that's what's so cool about Ayurveda, is it's always working on an individual level. It's always meeting you where you're at in this moment. So let's say, for an example, we're feeling super airy and spacey and dry. Maybe we're having a lot of overwhelm and fear arising. This would be a good time to notice, to check in. Okay, I'm feeling really spacey, or I've been feeling really anxious. And then you can start to incorporate more grounding practices into your routine, into your life, like warm oil massage. Almond and sesame oil specifically is really good if you are experiencing a lot of anxiety, if you feel really overwhelmed, you feel kind of burnt out, or just like you can't slow down, those are two oils that you can give yourself a self massage, and it will really help to ground your energy. Also, adding more consistency into routines and meal times is another great way to kind of ground this very airy, spacey energy. Walks in nature, grounding foods like sweet potatoes, root vegetables, healthy fats, and herbs such as ashwagandha, maca, ginger, and cinnamon are all going to help ground these qualities, bring these qualities back into a state of balance. And so something you would want to reduce light and airy foods if you're feeling this way, like popcorns and salads and raw food, intense exercise, and excessive screen time. So I hope that this is sort of making sense of like how this is kind of a really intuitive system. And I feel like it's almost sometimes so simple in a way when I'm explaining it, but I never thought about this until I learned Ayurveda. I was never like, oh my God, I'm so anxious. I should go, I should probably stop eating chips all the time and like popcorn and spending all this time on my phone. It was almost like sometimes what happens is when we're out of balance, we actually lean towards the things that are going to perpetuate that imbalance. So, yeah, I just hope that this is sort of making sense in an intuitive way. Let's say we're feeling extra spicy and inflamed, burnt out, irritated, angry. This is when it would be good to notice and start incorporating more calming and cooling practices, such as swimming, moon bathing, again, time in nature. This we could massage with like a sunflower oil, incorporating some slow yoga or exercises, cooling foods like white rice, coconut, watermelon, cucumber, raw veggies, and herbs such as aloe, rose, fennel, and licorice. And we would want to reduce overly heating activities such as intense exercise, sauna, spending too much time in the midday sun, having lots of heated conversations, or having too much heated spices or spicy foods. And then lastly, if we're feeling heavy, lethargic, congested, and depressed, this would be a great time to incorporate more invigorating practices such as dry brushing, sauna, vigorous exercise, waking up before 6 a.m., incorporating dry and light foods like cruciferous veggies, bitter veggies, quinoa, buckwheat, dried fruits, all these sort of kapha foods that I had already mentioned. And then the heating spices, black pepper, cinnamon, thyme, and turmeric. And then we would want to reduce the heavy, dense foods like ice cream, cheese, bread, sweets, excessive lounging and oversleeping, and eating late at night. Okay, so here's just like a funny little meme page. I'll let you all take a look at these if anyone can relate. This one is my personal favorite. It's a classic.
Love it.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. And so, yay, if you enjoyed this presentation, join us for the next class in the summer, where I will be sharing just some more summer practices to work with the summer season. And let's see, let me exit out of this. How do I?
Great, Katie.
Thank you.
That's so nice.
How do I stop sharing, Common?
Go to the
Oh,
bottom. Oh, never mind. You got it. Okay.
okay,
Cool.
yes. And so, yeah, if anyone is interested as well as in learning about your own Prakriti and Vikriti and just want to go a little bit deeper, that's also an option, and you can reach out to me. And other than that, if anyone has any questions or comments or feedback, I would love to hear it.
That's great. Thanks, Katie.
Thank you.
One thing I wanted
Yeah, that
to
was
add
great.
about the lymphatic brushing, if you're doing that, I've heard a couple different things, but I hear like the best way to do it is to brush towards your heart. Is that right? Yeah.
Always, when you're self massage, always going towards the heart, always moving towards the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Nice, Michelle. Awesome.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, exactly.
I need to get some. My little trampoline came in today,
Nice.
so that was my lymph exercise. Is about to start underway, but I need to start doing the brushing. I think that'd be great.
Yeah, that reminds me too.
It's very, very energizing and invigorating. Yeah, it feels good. It's like gets me going. But I love the trampoline too. That's awesome. That's another great way to get the lymph flowing, start working up a little bit of a sweat.
Right, that'll be the idea.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, this
Oh.
was great. I
I was gonna say,
go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead, Michelle. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar or too familiar with the 20 Gunas, which I really like. It was really cool. And the whole wheel that you guys put together, that it's very helpful for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll actually
That was
save
really cool.
uh not just the like you can have I'll save an image of the wheel and the presentation and put it in the chats and stuff so you guys can just hold on to them and have them. I think it's good to like look into that. It's also like you can take all this stuff and do additional research on it too. Like you can find recipes that are for specific doshas or recipes that are for specific gunas. And then just kind of like what I've been doing with it is, picking a certain element to work with and just like buying my grocery list based off that. And then I'm making meals like for that week or for those 2 weeks. And I'm in that section of the year where I'm kind of creating balance in my diet. Uh, but
Yeah.
like Katie said, you have to be kind of like from a place of balance first. Otherwise, you can kind of exacerbate certain things or slip kind of.
It's always just best to, yeah, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of your environment, but most importantly, be aware of your own internal environment. Like what is going on with you, because it doesn't matter if it's spring or summer, winter or fall. Like if you have an imbalance that is opposite of what's going on, you want to focus on your imbalance or else you're going to be even more out of balance, you know?
Yeah,
So it's
I love
always
that.
happen to yourself first. And then really, then it's kind of becomes very easy and intuitive to work with the seasons because it's like, okay, it's like really hot out right now. I'm not going to eat this heavy hot soup. I'm going to have some watermelon or some coconut water, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was great how you pointed that out. It was so true. And yeah, I'm definitely like going through some detoxification. I'm just getting in, and Coleman's helping me out a lot with all of this stuff too. And it's just like, that there's a lot of transformation that happens when you really start paying attention to yourself and developing your intuition. And it's complicated and it's hard, but yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's the number one thing to keep in mind.
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. It gets easier over time too.
Yeah.
Right.
Just tapping in, just noticing, just slowing down. I think that's what a lot of us really struggle with is just slowing down enough to really actually just be like, where
Yeah.
am I at? What do I need?
True.
It's hard to even know. Like really slowing down helps. I think that's like one of the biggest things I experienced during this cleanse is like I was going so many 100 miles a minute. Like I was just like intense before that and like trying to do all these things, trying to work out however many times a week, doing all this stuff, probably not resting enough, not recovering enough, stressing my nervous system out, definitely pushing them on my adrenals. And then like when I took the time to slow down, I realized like where I needed to like work from, where I needed to heal, what healing looks like, what deep sleep feels like all these things. Uh, so yeah, it
That's
definitely.
awesome you're cleansing though, Jared, because I'm actually cleansing right now too. I just started. Yeah, and it's a great time to really slow down if you can and
Yeah,
start to tune in to like what's really going on.
yeah. That
What
it's so important. Like, aren't like just slowing down and like realizing. I mean, you said it. Like, it's just not part of like I guess American like culture and society is like it's just always going, but slowing down, taking things in is just as much a part of any journey and just as important as doing the actual things, doing the hard work when you need to slow it down. And this is true for like the breath work that we're doing. It's like I was going so hard and I was pushing myself, I was pushing my body, my diaphragm, and I was making progress. And then, you know, up to a point, and then the body is just like, you're not giving me rest. I'm not like, I'm gonna force you to slow down if you don't do it yourself. And the same is true for, you know, everything else too. So
Yeah.
it's really, really important realization.
It's funny.
That's literally like
It's true.
yeah. It's like the gunas. It's the masculine and the feminine gunas. It's like, you know, the doing and the being. You got to
Yeah.
find the balance between that. Too much doing and you're burnt out. Too much being and
Right.
you're like nothing's happening.
Right.
No progress in my life.
Exactly. Yeah, that's awesome.
Cool. What kind of